Hyundai channel, welcome to our live video series. Today we're going to take our second look at the Kia Sorento PHEV. If you missed our earlier look, we kind of did the overall overview. We mentioned that we were going to do a second video. We're actually going to do a third video as part of this series where I'll do a much shorter one talking about some frequently asked questions, real world fuel efficiency, how that all works, how it can be skewed, how it can be misunderstood. So we're going to do that video coming up as well. But in this video in particular, we're going to focus on the technology of this car. Now, I'm going to be really honest, probably not always the most entertaining, but I've found that a lot of people find these to be extremely helpful, especially if you're a non-techie kind of person. You just want to understand what you've got, what you like. That's what we're going to go through here. So, if you're a regular with us, you know how this works. If you're not regular with us, if you're not live with us, this is a live video. And if you're not live, you can skip ahead if you want to the 3-minute mark. That'll be directly into the content. In the meantime, we're going to talk about a couple little news and notes things. I'm going to show you how to join us live if you want to do that. And I'm going to ask some of our regulars to maybe hit that like button a little early, and we'll try to earn it from the new people and just expect it from the regulars. So here we go. All right, let me just show you how to join us live. Over here, we go to our YouTube channel, and if you come here exactly at 2 o'clock on a weekday, so that's 2 p.m. Eastern time on a weekday, you'll see that this is sort of our homepage here. We've got a video there. If you refresh the page exactly at 2 o'clock, that standard video disappears, and you're going to see our live video right there. You're going to click into that, and if you do that, you're going to have to watch an ad for Nordic Track. You probably have a different ad. I don't know why I'm watching Nordic Track. Somebody here must be researching their fitness. Anyways, I'm going to run a quick little ad for ourselves here as well. We are going to talk about... somebody asked a good question. They got me distracted. Quick ad for ourselves. If you're looking to buy in Ontario, connect with me. There'll be a link in the description when this video is done. You can connect with us, and I'll connect you with Brantford Kia, Brantford Hyundai, and Owen Sound Hyundai. They will treat you like family. That's my ad. Somebody did ask a good question. What happened to the Santa Cruz? The Santa Cruz was not available for me today. I'm going to take it tomorrow. So we've got a pretty big week coming up. Santa Cruz is very popular for us. It's that new pickup truck-ish from Hyundai. We're going to do a full technology review of that tomorrow. And then the next day, we're going to have another Hyundai back here. We're going to do the Tucson hybrid. So today's a plug-in hybrid. Tomorrow or Thursday is a hybrid vehicle. And there's some similarities there as well. And the other thing is, if you like the Santa Cruz interior tomorrow and some of that technology, we can compare and contrast that with the same basic front driver's seat interior of the Tucson. The Santa Cruz and Tucson share driver seats, a lot of the dash stuff, but they have different powertrains. The one has a hybrid, the Tucson has the hybrid, Santa Cruz has the 2.5 liter turbo. So there are a lot of differences in technology, despite the fact that the front seats forward when you're sitting there, they look identical inside there. So lots going on there. We're already at that 3-minute mark. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. Like we mentioned, today is the full technology review of the Kia Sorento. And just before we get going, when I say full technology review, if you're interested in this car and maybe you want to see more about it, hit the subscribe button, because if you guys ask good comments and good questions, which you definitely are doing on this car, I'm going to pull it back in here to do more and more videos to answer your questions, because I don't know what you guys want to know until you tell me. I can assume, and sometimes I'm good at that, sometimes I'm not. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, because a lot of this coming up, and if you just missed what we were talking about, Hyundai Tucson hybrid is coming up later this week. What do you call it? Santa Fe hybrid or plug-in hybrid will be coming up within a month or so. There's a lot of these vehicles coming out that we're going to go over in detail. So if you're interested in this class of vehicle, hit the subscribe button, and we'll do our best to answer all your needs. And again, we're not a review channel. We're a dealership group, so we can pull the same vehicles back in here. It's not just a one-time review. I'm happy to do it over and over again. All right, let's go through things. First of all, when I say these things aren't going to be the most fun, there's no real rhythm and system to go through all of the technology together. So sometimes we're going to point out some mundane technologies, like when I lock the car here, the mirror folds in, which is pretty cool. May not be a huge technological feature to you, but yeah, sometimes that's really helpful to a lot of people. And of course, there's also little lights in the door handle. So some of that's more mundane type stuff. We'll review some of that stuff here. I don't know if you can see the lights in the door handle there. I just turned off already, but there is lights lighting up that area. We're also going to get into all-wheel drive systems, plug-in hybrid systems, a lot of the technology and safety systems that the other reviews don't show you, mostly because they've never learned to use them. So we're going to go through, show you what they are, what's available to you, and I'm going to give you some tips and hints if you're an owner of this vehicle, or if you're a potential owner of this vehicle, or if you're just interested in this vehicle, some things of what's going on. Because one of the things that's going on with vehicles nowadays is, just like my wife and I both use iPhones, we both use them very differently. We use them different ways. So we're going to show you some ways to customize the car for yourself, make it very familiar for yourself without screwing it up for the other person. So some cool things going on there, and that's where we're headed. So first thing I'm going to show you is the key fob. We've done this in the previous video. You do have remote start in here. While we're talking about technology, if you happen to remote start this vehicle inside a garage, usually all of our cars now have a sensor where they can shut themselves down if there's too much emissions. This one's a little different. Somebody asked what happens when you remote start the vehicle inside a garage, so let's find out. Gonna lock it, gonna hold this down. All right, we're having some internet issues. Can somebody let me know that we are back? Yeah, we had some internet issues here. We've been having them all day, so I'm now on my own personal data network. So if anybody wants to comment to let me know that we're back, I will keep going on here. I do apologize for that. It looks like we're back on my screen, but you guys can tell me. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, guys. So just in case you missed it, what's going on is, like I said, the remote start button. You guys wanted to know what happens when you remote start a plug-in hybrid. In case we did miss it, I'm not sure where it cut off. When we remote start the hybrid, if it doesn't need to run the gasoline engine, it won't. If it does, it will. So we'll talk about that for a second. So did you smoke yourself out? No. So why don't we do that just real quickly again. We'll lock the car. Going to hit the remote start button here, and the car will start. You can see the lights have turned on. You can't hear it, but I can hear things have come to life. The climate system would be running if it is, and the car has been remote started. So it does not have to start the gasoline engine. However, if it needed to, it would as well. Gonna hold this down again, let that turn this car off, and we are good. I'm gonna walk in front of my motion sensor light just to get the room's lighting back on again. We've got a vehicle blocking that today. All right, let's jump inside now. Lots of ways to unlock the door. We're gonna do it sort of the traditional way. You can see as I approach the car, that little light came on, the one I was telling you earlier about. You can sort of see it against my finger. And just approaching the car allowed those mirrors to fold out. So again, more technology, me having the key fob in my hand, approaching the vehicle, that happened. Now I'm gonna tap the door once. That's just gonna unlock just the driver's door, and this door will still be locked. You can set it up to have it tap it once and all the doors will unlock, or you can just double tap this door, the button on the door that I already pressed, and all the doors will unlock. I did unlock the doors manually myself now. So in this vehicle, I know that my boss is watching. He's in the office next to me. And what we're going to do is we are going to start the vehicle. At some point, it's possible the gas engine will kick in. If it does, I'm going to have to turn the vehicle off. But I think the point is to show you that you can start this vehicle. It's emissions free. And the reason I say my boss is because he's in the next room. And when he gets gassed out, I probably can't get a paycheck signed. So that's an important thing to me, having paycheck signed. So right now, turn the climate control off, as I always do when I'm doing these reviews, just to keep the wind from blowing. It also is going to, in this video, help us remain completely off of the regular, having the gasoline engine start. So a lot to go through here. Let's just talk about the basics. Let's talk about this gauge on the left side here. So this is a gauge you're going to get in a lot of our hybrids. It actually is very, very helpful to you as you drive. First of all, let's talk about what a PHEV is. I think most of you know, but let's just really quickly cover it. PHEV can run as a hybrid. A hybrid mixes gas and electricity as necessary and gives you great efficiency. The P, the plug-in part, allows us to plug it into a wall charger, even just a regular outlet at home, and you can get up to 51 kilometers of pure electric range before it switches over to a pure hybrid. A lot of competitors have a different system. So our system allows it to switch over to a hybrid system, and that matters. I'm gonna open the sunroof here to get some cool air in here. So it's important to know that even when your gasoline engine is running, this does not turn into a gasoline vehicle towing around really heavy batteries. Even when your plug-in range is fully depleted, you still have battery usage to work like a hybrid. So think of that as an ultra efficient vehicle, even if you plug in. And that's an important distinction to go about. And again, we'll have another video talking about this. So when you run this vehicle, what you want to know as a driver is, am I in that eco kind of area where I'm going to extend my range? And that's sort of what this green bar is. When you hit the brakes or decelerate or just coast, you're going to see this the red line or the red needle come down into the charge setting. Anytime it's in the charge setting, you're actually adding electric only range. So pretty cool the way that works. It's very easy to do. Now what's cool is basically at this line here, it seems to be that when I drive, and I haven't fully read all the specs on this, but it seems to be pretty consistent. When I go into this area here with this needle, that is when the gasoline engine will kick in. Now, you can set this car to drive on only electricity, which is the way most people are going to do that. But It will use the gasoline engine if it needs to for a whole bunch of reasons. One, just generally keeping things like the engine warmed up, keeping things like heating available. We'll talk about that a little bit more details as well. You do use some of the engine for heat, and also for full power. You don't have full power. Now, I drove this car for 37 minutes the other day, and I was able to get on the highway and off the highway without turning on the gasoline engine at all. However, if you really need to get into it on the highway ramp, it's going to allow you to have that gasoline engine. So that's an important safety feature. People are always thinking, oh, I don't want my gasoline engine to run. You do. You want this car to decide when it's running. So if you're getting on the highway and all of a sudden you need to stomp on it, you need that engine to be ready to go, ready to give itself power instantly. So this car does that very well, but you can see when that transition is going to happen. So if you don't need to stomp on it to get onto the highway, you can control that very easily with your right side pedal or your gas pedal, acceleration, throttle pedal, whatever you want to call it in this car. So that's important to know. So that gauge is super helpful. Looking in here, I just want to show you a few things. It will always tell you how much electric range you have left, 34 kilometers. In this case, we have up to 51 again, and overall range is there, gasoline range, give or take. And of course, just like your gasoline car, this can vary a little bit. Somebody did some math on the mileage that I was getting and said I can get 2,000 kilometers of range. We're going to talk about a video coming up either this afternoon or maybe tomorrow morning. We're going to film it now, where we're going to talk about some of that real world range and how those numbers can actually be both manipulated and help them be understood. Zipping through here, some of the technology, 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers since this last person reset, but the really important one there, 4.1 liters per 100 kilometers on the trip, which is 111 kilometers. There's your odometer, 111 kilometers. So we've been driving this car for 111 kilometers. We're averaging 4.1 liters per 100 kilometers. I drove it the other day. It was 2.4 liters per 100 kilometers for me. So we'll talk about that later. There we go, some reset stuff. You got a driving gauge there. You can see that 4 point whatever liters per 100 kilometers includes 57% economical driving, not all economical, so mostly economical. And the blue is normal, not too much aggressive driving, and that's pretty typical stuff. We don't drive most vehicles as aggressive enough for these things to come on. And of course, you can see how the power works. So this is real basic type stuff, but there's a lot of information in here. You can put your navigation system information in here, lane keeping, lane follow assist, those kinds of things can all be viewed here. You've got driver attention alert level, even little safety features like the lane keeping and lane follow assist. They're looking forward. Oops, let me just zoom out for a second here. Looking forward to see the lane markers in front of you. You can keep yourself centered in lane. It actively steers the car. So it can keep you centered in lane by steering the car. You're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel, although we've all discovered you can certainly take them off and have the car steer for itself. That's not something Kia recommends. You should definitely be in control of your vehicle, keep your hands on the wheel, but you will feel it steering itself to keep it centered in the lane, and it's a good system to have. The other thing you're going to have is that system all uses a camera system out here looking forward. Between the camera system and the radar system out front, you have all kinds of collision avoidance. So it can avoid vehicles. It's capable of avoiding pedestrians. It's capable of avoiding cyclists. It's also capable of doing a new thing in more recent vehicles where I'm waiting at a stoplight about to turn left. And you know how kind of like it goes yellow and you want to clear the intersection, and there's that one person that just kind of bowls through the red light, comes this way. Well, you're looking left and you're not seeing them. It's a very dangerous collision. It's one of the more dangerous types of collisions that happen in town. So as you're turning left and they're deciding to not stop for the red light and bowl right through, this car is capable of seeing that, reacting to it, and actually braking the car, like hitting the brakes for you to avoid a collision like that. So it's got junction collision avoidance assist. It is capable of doing a whole bunch of things to avoid collisions. There's a technology thing that not everybody knows in these newer cars. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to dig into this system here. Remember when I said that your car is becoming a lot like your cell phone? I'm going to show you some features in here that if you share this car, you may have one driver that absolutely loves that feature and another driver who does not want the interference of a feature that they're not familiar with. That's where these modes are really good. When these guest modes, and what it was is driver 1 and driver 2 and a guest mode. So there's 3 actual drivers you can set up here. Driver 1, driver 2, driver, and guest. And when these systems came out, what really was is you could pick your own radio presets. And in some cases, oh, it's switching over for me now. In some cases, it would also set the climate control for you, and that was it. So we're going to go back here and go to the guest mode just because that's easiest for me. But what you want to do now as you drive a car like this, if you share it, is you want to set up these profiles, because what's going to happen is I'm going to show you how to set up some things that you may find make driving easier for you. But if someone else isn't familiar with the vehicle, they may find it a little bit more confusing for them. So just like a cell phone, my wife and I share two of the same cell phones, right? We both have iPhones. She uses hers for 50 different things. I use mine for 50 different things, but they're not always the same 50 things. That's what's going to go on in your car now. You're going to start to customize your car for yourself. So let's talk about some of those customizations that maybe you want and maybe not everybody else wants. So we'll go through here. We'll go to the vehicle setting here. Oops, if I tap it right, that works better. Or doesn't? There we go. Okay. So driving convenience, these are simple things where you can set up highway driving assist, auto speed change. So these are things when you set the cruise control, the car can change the speed based on navigation information, curves in the road, other information. Same with the speed limit warning and speed limit assist. You can set your cruise control to always go exactly at the speed limit when you set it, or 5 over or 10 over. Let's say I really like that feature. I want to set the cruise control so it's always 10 kilometers over the limit, 10 kilometers an hour over the limit. If I set that up and somebody else is using my cruise control, that might be confusing for them. So again, setting those driver modes, those driver 1, driver 2 modes, is going to help you set up the car and use these features that you may like to use, but maybe the person sharing the car doesn't always want to use. So those are some nice things here. Driver attention warning, you can set that up for yourself, and you can do oh, this is a little slow for me today. I don't know why that is. We haven't done the full, there we go. Leading vehicle departure, inattentive driving warning. Let's say that the other person doesn't want your driver attention warning on. They can turn that off and it won't affect you. Same with some of these assist things. Active assist, remember we talked about the forward safety? So the active assist provides a warning of a vehicle control collision. So some of these things with active assist, they can brake the car or steer the car for you. Maybe you want those on and your other driver doesn't, so you can set yours to warning only, theirs to active assist, whatever they want. And actually the lane safety one is a good one here too. You can set the lane keeping assist. So some people used to like lane detection warning. So it was detect the lane and warn you if it came up against it. It would beep on that. Some people want it off completely. Some people just want to be warned. And some people really love the fact that the car on a long trip will just keep itself centered in the lane and steering down the center of the lane. That's the active assist. So again, driver 1, driver 2, you can customize these all. And again, you can leave it as the default. It's no hurt or harm, but you're paying for these features. So if at least one of you who drives this vehicle wants these features, you can really set up that custom feature for yourself. So these are just things that we should go through, that you should go through with your salesperson or go through on your own to make sure you understand what they are. Most of them have pretty good descriptions in these screens here. They didn't used to have as good descriptions when they were in this display screen over here. But there you go. You can sort of read what they all do. And if you have any questions, of course, we can reach out. We can do some videos on it. Blind spot safety, same thing. Safe exit assist, active assist, provides a warning, and vehicle control when a risk of a blind spot collision is detected. So what that means is if I'm signaling in here, so let's say I'm signaling over here and turning that way, let's say there's somebody else signaling out there and coming into the side lane as well. Maybe I don't see them in my mirrors. Well, this car is capable of braking the front side, in this case it would be the front side right wheel, to pull the car back in to avoid the collision. Maybe you don't like some of those systems in place, you can turn them on or off. So a lot of these active assist, safe exit assist, again, it can help you if you're having somebody getting out of the back seat. It can warn them and actually lock the, it can child lock the inside rear door handle. So if you have a car parked here and you have traffic whipping by in this lane, if your car senses right now that a car is coming, it's going to lock or child lock the inside rear door or handle so that your child doesn't jump out into traffic. Those are nice safety things to have. Parking safety is another cool thing. Parking distance is auto on. So basically when you're approaching, backing up or driving forward, this car has parking sensors front and back. It will have progressively beep quicker as it as the vehicle comes in and out. So somebody came through my room, turned my light on. That was super helpful for them, for me. Anyway, so those parking sensors, as you're approaching things in a parking lot, it will beep. So the biggest benefit of that parking sensor up front is there's no way to see the front bumper of this car. But of course you can see when the front bumper senses something in front, it will beep progressively quicker till a solid beep. That beep will keep you from running into something. And of course in the reverse here, when I put it in reverse, you can see that all of those sensors will give you visual warnings. So you'll have green, yellow, and red as you come close to something, and in reverse, same thing, green, yellow, and red. So you'll know in your backup camera you can see something, but let's say there's a scooter parked over here and I'm not paying attention. These sonar sensors should be able to see that as well, and you'll see green, yellow, and red as you get closer and closer. And then the other cool thing is if you're backing into a parking spot, once you back into a parking spot, you're gonna line this blue line up with your parking spot. Once that's lined up, you will come in straight. All right, let's leave that for now. We're gonna go into some more tech and safety and other things in this vehicle now. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna do my usual beg for likes. We had 57 people on. 44 likes is pretty good, but I feel like we can hit 60 today. So let's see if we can hit 60 likes as a goal. All of us, if we all hit it right now, we're done. Game over. It's all good. I'm going to go take your questions, so start asking them right now. I'm going to fill you in on one little technology thing as we jump out, and then I'll go take your questions. So one little technology thing: smart cruise control, highway drive assist, lane follow assist. And again, we touched on these as all, but you can turn them on and off from the wheel. So the smart cruise control, you can use a bunch of different ways. And it can keep the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, which is super helpful. Also works with the speed limit assist, which it can look for speed limits and adjust it on itself based on speed limits. And then the lane follow assist, you can turn on or off as well. So that's that active steering there. All right, Charlene says, my first live watch. So this is the first time you joined us live? Thumbs up for Charlene. All right, we're gonna jump out. Actually, one thing I just quickly wanna show you is you can see the ambient lighting in this vehicle. I can change the color of it, but you can sort of see it coming through there. Let me just try to zoom in. I'm in a well-lit room, but that orangey-ish color there is the ambient lighting, which shows up in this vehicle. It's also down underneath. Ooh, I'm trying to zoom in too far here. Hold on. Where am I? There we go. It's also down underneath here, which you can kind of see there. Shows up nice over there. And you can see it over, well, sorry for the terrible camera work, guys. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Underneath here, you can see that as well. And then, of course, into the door there as well. So, again, this will all show up better at night, but ambient lighting is just kind of a cool thing to have. All right, we're jumping out. We're going to take your questions. We already got 56 likes, so this is helpful. This is good for me to know that, one, you guys are watching, you guys are engaged, and let's keep going. All right. I'm going to, actually, you know what? Why don't we keep the camera on me for a minute? Oh, you know what? I am going to turn the vehicle off because it's still running. Stay right here. I'll be right back. Nice thing about hybrids and plug-in hybrids and electric vehicles is they you don't really know they're on all the time. Okay, can't click like, I already have. That's okay. Are new Sorentos only going to be PHEV from now on? No, the gasoline model is still out there. There's also a hybrid model coming, and then the plug-in hybrid. So currently the gasoline models and the plug-in hybrid ones are available. The hybrids are not yet. So somebody said, oh yeah, Charlene said, watch first live. Your videos already sold me on a Kia purchase. Cool. Much love to Canada from Georgia. Cool. All right. Can you get heads-up display in the plug-in version? My understanding is the SX model is essentially mirroring the gasoline SX model, so that means in Canada we would have heads-up display. In the United States, I'm not sure if it'll be the exact same. I don't think the United States had the heads-up display in their Sorento. When they warn you, do you get any actual distance? So we think we're talking about the cruise control, if that's what it said. Yeah, you can sort of set that distance. There's ways to look at it there. So. Some people like the assist, some people don't like the assist, and that makes some sense. Okay, where are we here? The website says the SX PHEV has the Bose system, but it only shows 6 speakers. Have you seen an SX yet, and can you confirm that it has 6 or the normal 12? So I don't remember how many speakers it has. 12 sounds familiar. If it has the Bose audio system, I would assume it has the same number of speakers. There's no reason the PHEV would keep it from the size. So Greg just joined us. Greg's a PHEV owner, regular follower, and he just asked a question that I can't see. I'm having internet issues on my phone or on my computer here. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Do the driver profiles switch with the keys or only manual? Good question. You have to switch it manually, so you're going to hop in and tap your car. So let me just go down. I'm having an issue here. Sorry, did you discuss the engine size and battery size, electric motor size? Not so much yet, so we'll get into some of that. Do PHEVs come in 5 or 7 seaters? So this one is a 6-seater. In Canada, they're all going to be 6-seaters. You've got captain's chairs in the middle. The pro with the captain's chairs, if you have child seats, you've got the aisle down the middle. The con, of course, is that the third person is going to sit in the third row seats. Okay. Engine size, it is a 1.6 turbo. That's a smaller engine, but it is a turbo engine. So that's something to keep in mind. The electric motor, I don't have the specs in front of me. We're going to cover some of that in a little bit different video. I'll come back to that. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, we had some issues here. Okay, so I'm having some issues here reading my computer because, like I said, the internet in the building is off, but I'm using my data. So bear with me if I'm missing your question today. I'm going to hope that the internet in the building comes back a little bit and helps me out. I'm trying to read them off my screen, but it's a little bit harder for me to do here, and it's certainly more awkward. Okay. Does the car have remote parking assist? No. So that's like you hit the remote and it can move forward or back. They don't have that. Watched a YouTube video made in Korea yesterday featuring 2022 Sportage. It was a hybrid, not a PHEV. will the North American versions be hybrid or PHEV? So unofficially, I can confirm that we are expecting the Sportage. The Sportage drivetrain information has not been released yet in Canada. I'm expecting it to be a gasoline model, a hybrid model, and then later release of a plug-in hybrid. So say maybe January-ish for the gasoline, probably March-ish for the plug-in, for the hybrid, and then plug-in hybrid in the summer for the, there we go. 0 to 60 times, haven't done that. Here we go, we just got my internet back. So let me just come back here and take your questions. Had a whole bunch of stuff come in here, so let me just see what we got. 0 to 60 times I do not have, mostly because I have not tested it. There will be magazines that test it. Keep in mind, different magazines have different systems of testing 0 to 60. Motor Trend does a different system than some other things. They have a roll-on thing, so it actually cheats the first little tiny bit. So I leave that to the magazines, let them decide. I will tell you that power-wise, we are between the 4-cylinder and the 2.5 turbo. So the 4-cylinder non-turbo and the 2.5 turbo, power-wise, we're in the middle, but you have a lot of instant torque right away, so it would be interesting to test those. All right, we're gonna keep digging through some of the technology in this vehicle. I just wanna show you a couple little things, so as we jump in, let's just talk really quickly the way things work with this vehicle. So practically speaking, again, I think it's important to point out, when you run purely on electric power, your vehicle will still use the gasoline engine if you really stomp on the pedal. So basically 80-90% of your driving you can do fully on electric. If it's super cold, it's going to want to warm up that engine. It's a 1.6 liter engine, doesn't take a lot of time to warm up. People have to get over the fact of, I don't want my engine to run. You're still buying a vehicle with a gasoline engine. You do want the engine to run if the car thinks it needs to run, whether to warm it up, because keep in mind, you have to have that engine warmed up. So in the middle of the winter, when you stomp on the highway, you don't want the first time that engine turns on to be when you're flooring it to get on the highway, because you've got to pass that semi-truck that's coming up quickly. So let the car decide when your engine runs, and judge the car's mileage by the mileage you're getting, not by whether the engine runs or not, because sometimes that engine's gonna run. It's gonna help you with heat. The hybrid vehicle has a PTC heater. It doesn't look like the PHEV does. So there are systems in here where it can use the coolant. Once that engine's warm, you can draw heat off of it. Doesn't always have to be running for that. But you do want to get over the fact of, I don't want the engine running. If you want a car with no engine running, buy an electric car. There's some really great ones out now, and there's even better ones coming out from Kia and Hyundai soon. If you buy a plug-in hybrid, allow that engine to run when it needs to. So that's something to do. Yeah, somebody says, but it's hard when you're a fuel miser. It's hard to let the engine run when you're a fuel miser, but keep in mind, it's going to run and still get you great mileage. I know that's kind of going to be tough to get over, but it's not like some competitive systems that when that engine's running, you're getting terrible mileage, like Jeep Wrangler. When the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, when that engine's running, it actually gets worse mileage than if you running that 4-cylinder than if you had no plug-in hybrid, because it's pulling around extra weight. This system doesn't work like that. So allow it to run when necessary, even if you're a fuel miser, because it's going to do things better for you rather than, you know, it's going to get the mileage for you. You don't have to worry about that. You can game the system a little bit, but trust it to do its thing. Let's talk about a couple of the technology things, and then we're going to try to wrap this up closer to that half an hour mark today. So we're at 28 minutes, so we'll go a hair over for you. So again, we're going to fully start the car. Fuel and drive modes here, Eco, Sport, and Smart. If I go into Sport mode right now, the engine will start. So that is because Sport mode assumes you want full power. If I'm in the EV only mode, it's not going to give me full power unless the engine starts. So we saw that the other day when we went to Sport mode. We're going to skip right down to Smart to skip by it. Smart mode. Now the other thing that you may not know is Eco, Sport, and Smart also changed the all-wheel drive system. I don't have official Kia specs, but Hyundai uses a very similar system. The Sport mode is going to give you a lot more rear-wheel drive than, for instance, the Smart mode. So it can always vary between the two, but you're going to go full 50-50 in the Sport mode. It might only be 80-20 in the Smart mode and 65-35 or so as the defaults in some of these other modes. So Eco is different than some of the other cars. There's a normal mode. This one, of course, you have Eco and Smart and Sport. A lot of times you have Smart, Normal, and Sport. So just different things there. Terrain mode, same thing. You got the snow mode here, the mud mode, and the sand. They're not just going to change the all-wheel drive system, but things like the stability control, the traction control, all those kinds of things. It's going to optimize them for different levels of wheel spin, different levels of control, no matter where you are. Now, if you happen to be in Eco mode, Smart mode, or Sport mode, you can still drive in the snow. It's just not everything is perfectly optimized for the snow mode. So that's what this terrain system is built for. This EV HEV system, that is electric vehicle only. So you're going to run almost purely electric whenever it possibly can. and then hybrid electric, which means you're going to blend gasoline and electric. So what that button does, that when you press that HEV button and it turns it into a hybrid, remember, this hybrid is still ultra efficient. It's going to be an ultra efficient hybrid. So when you have that hybrid button pushed, what that allows you to do is save your plugged in range, that up to 51 kilometers, for later. So let's say you want to drive 100 kilometers and then you want to go pure EV when you get there because you're just cruising around a little town. You can save that pure EV range for later, or you can use it right away. So those are just little buttons you can use to decide when you want to save it. Now I will say, other than that, 95% of the time, and I don't mean to talk down to my viewer base, it's smarter than you, it's smarter than me. Let it figure out how to save you fuel, and most of the time it will save you more fuel, except for saving that range. If you want to save that range for somewhere later, the electric range for various reasons, do that. But trust it to figure out the range, including when it runs a gasoline engine, because again, when it runs a gasoline engine, it can help charge batteries, it can do a whole bunch of things for you. You're going to save. And I guess that's the catch. When you run that gasoline engine, while it's using fuel in that moment, it's also going to, anytime it runs the engine, you're also using it to charge the battery. It's going to give you some of that back. So trust it to save you mileage. Judge it the same way we're judging it here. Judge your car by your fuel mileage that you're actually seeing. Whoops, I missed it there. So the fuel mileage you're actually seeing. So that is right over here. 4.1 liters per 100 kilometers in this one, 3.5 on that one there. So 33 kilometers of use. So that's how I want you to judge it. That's how it works. And what we'll do right now is we're going to cut it a little shorter. We're usually sometimes allowed to stay on to about 40 minutes. We're going to cut it shorter, and we're going to go over and make sure that I'm answering all your questions. And keep in mind, I am going to do a video, non-live video, a little bit shorter, on real world mileage, how to get better mileage, how to not get better mileage. This car has a coasting mode. It can train you how to coast, mostly in the hybrid mode, because sometimes letting off the throttle, this car coasts for days, it seems like. That can train you to hyper mileage, get a little bit better mileage, and it can throw it right up on the dash. Hey, do coast right now. I'm going to work with you to get better mileage. You can turn that on or off. Some people, again, switch it by the driver mode. You may not want that. You may want it. So lots of little technology bits in here that can help you do that. And those are things that I've tried out. All right, we hit, I think we were going for 60 likes. We're one away from 70. We've got 75 people on right now, which means we're probably going to have 300-400 people on in this video easily. Let's see if we can blow through and get all the likes we can. I'll give you a half an hour of my time every single day. The only thing I ask for return is you can do that one click of the like button. And the reason that's important is not just for me and all that stuff. If you guys click the like button, that tells other people who might be interested in videos like this to watch it. The more watch in due time you get, the more we know, the more my bosses see as well. You guys want to see these videos, and we'll make more of them. All right, let's keep going here. Just take your questions. Any news about 2022 Kia Forte 5, K3, whatever it is going to be? In other words, the next generation Forte. No news yet. Expect some news in October. So we're only a few days away from October. Expect some news soon on that. Will it charge your battery in neutral and coasting? Technically, yes. So that 51 kilometer range, I believe, and I haven't tested on this car, putting in sport mode in our Nero PHEV can help charge that. It's not the most efficient way to go. I don't really know why people do that, because keep in mind, this is a system that will always use gas and electric mixed, even when you run out of range. So you'll find yourself driving several kilometers on pure electric, even though you haven't plugged it in at all. But it can charge, do that. Do you have an expected date for the Tucson PHEV? Not for the Tucson. I believe the Santa Fe is the first one I'm going to see for the PHEV. That's coming next month, and we'll have that in the video bay. Tucson PHEV we'll definitely have as well here as well. Tried the first winter trying to get work without running the engine, but was missing an issue. So yeah, so some people have tried with their maybe other like Nero PHEVs to go without the engine running. You want that engine to run every now and then. It's good for maintenance. It's good for taking care of it that way. And you can look at the overall fuel efficiency. So we'll talk about that in another video. How long is the wait time for the Sorento if we book it this month? Short answer is book it this month. Connect with me, get it booked. It's impossible for me to, it's such a generality for me to predict how long these things are gonna be. What you will do is once you've placed an order, and until you've placed an order, anybody who gives you a date is purely guessing. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they're saying. It's a guess. Some people have said, oh, it'll be 6 months. Oh, it'll be 2 months. Oh, it'll be 2 weeks. Whoever's giving you any kind of date before you've placed an order is a guess. It's a guesstimate. Sometimes it's an educated guess, but that's what it is. Until you have a VIN number, and the only way you can get a VIN number is by placing the order. Once you place the order and the dealer comes back with a VIN number, once you have a VIN number, then they can actually track how long it'll take to get produced and shipped to you. the easiest thing to do is place an order, work with your dealer that way. We can certainly give you guesstimates. What I say today could be completely different tomorrow, could be completely different either way 5 days from now. So I'm not so much into keeping track of how long it takes, because to be very fair, if you look at our lot right now, you'll see a lot of empty parking spots. I got a bunch of used cars out here, but there's not a lot of cars here, so it's hard for me to keep up on how long every vehicle will take. It varies per vehicle. It can vary per trim line. Sometimes we have vehicles coming in. We have Sportages right now in compound that are here that are not sold. You could leave with one of those tomorrow, even though they're not on the lot today. So it can really vary based on which exact car you're looking at. So that's a long answer, but I get asked that question a lot, and it's hard for me to answer, so I'll just tell you the truth. All right. I think that is all the questions we need for today. So keep in mind, if you've never seen these vehicles and you want to see more about them, I'll have a short video out. I'm not sure if I'll film it tonight or if I'll film it tomorrow morning, but I'll have it up by midday tomorrow for sure, where we're going to talk about some mileage, some ways to cheat the system, work on that. Yeah, it's been fun. We hit 76 likes. There's currently 76 people on, so I want to thank everyone for joining us. We will be back with a lot more of these, a lot more other EV type stuff. I love these cars, so we'll talk about them more. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.